Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, you're looking at a beer that's 12 years in the making. '12th Anniversary Stout is a 16.9% bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout from Oddside Ales in Grand Haven, Michigan. It really doesn't seem that long ago that I was reviewing Oddside's 11th Anniversary Stout, but you know what they say, time, it seems to fly when you're having fun, and yeah. So, Oddside Ales has been a favorite brewery of mine for a while, so I'm always looking forward to trying their new stuff. Anytime a new thing comes on the shelves, I'm like, yeah, let's take a look at that. So let's take a look at this one. We'll get into a glass, but first I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer, David Jeffries, Vinny Kent, and Cam Freeman, for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or just throw me a couple bucks to buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.drafttherapy.com, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks available only to patrons. If you don't want to join the Patreon, I totally get it. Just share this video with the masses. We'll bring more people in talking about beer in Michigan. So let's take a look at the label. That's what we always look at first. So this is a black Oddside can. This is very, very reminiscent of the 11th Anniversary Stout that they put out. It says Oddside at the top. Underneath that in silver, Oddside with the 3 hop cones. We have a Roman numeral 12. That's like a kind of like a splattered X11, and underneath that it says Anniversary. And then below that, in really small print, it says Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with cocoa and vanilla. If we turn it around to the side here, it says Oddside has those 3 hop cones again. It says, to celebrate our 12th anniversary, we created this limited edition Imperial Stout. It was aged in bourbon barrels for 12 months with cocoa and vanilla. This is 16.9% alcohol by volume. Underneath that, it says cheers to 12 years. If we turn it a little bit more, we see brewed and canned by Oddside Ales in Grand Haven, Michigan, and all of their social media. Good information here, and the government warning. On the back here, it says this was canned on January 24th, 2022. It is mid-April, actually late April, that I'm recording this, the 23rd. So this has been out for a little bit, a few months. Well, it got canned a couple months ago. I don't know exactly when this came out, but this says it's been aged for 12 months in bourbon barrels. That means pretty much since the last one was put out, this one was put out. One big thing to note is that on the 11th anniversary, it said it was 17.76, I believe, ABV, and this is 16.9% ABV. So we're going to grab a snifter, ding-a-ling, snifter style glass here. We're going to go ahead and crack this, put a nose on it. And let's see what we get here. Definitely picking up on that bourbon characteristic. I am getting a little bit of a chocolate, a little bit of a cocoa. Go ahead and pour it. It actually has a bit of a clear look to it, pouring it out of the can, which I guess being bourbon barrel aged and that high of ABV, that scans, right? So we've got about, as you can see from the overhead, we've got about a finger of head. The head is dissipating really quickly. It's a bit of a tan colored head. It's not super dark, not super, coffee colored or anything like that, just a little bit tan. And as you can see, the head is practically gone. Let's go ahead and hold it up to the light here. Very dark. Not seeing through that, of course. And yeah, I am seeing just a little bit of kind of a reddish hue to the bottom of that bulb. And let's go ahead and put a nose on the glass here. Again, a lot of bourbon. Really strong bourbon characteristic. Really strong, like rich, fudgy, chocolate characteristic in there as well. But let's stop talking about it. Let's start drinking it. Cheers. Always talk about the mouthfeel. For as light as the pour is, or as clear as the stream looked, this is actually kind of thick for looking that light. When I saw it pour, I thought it was going to be really light, almost too light, right, for this kind of ABV, this high gravity style stout. But it definitely has a little bit of a thicker mouthfeel. It's not super syrupy, but it's a little bit heavier than medium, a little bit heavier than most stouts or imperial stouts, but not super thick. Let's talk about the flavor, because there's a lot going on here. 16.9%, lots of bourbon characteristic in there. Very boozy, like really a lot of booziness on the back end, on the finish. There's like, I've been talking a lot, and every time I have like a really high boozy, like high gravity, high octane kind of stout like this. I always talk about like a boozy burn. There's no burn in my, this one, there is a bit of a booziness to it. Go into this knowing you're going to get a bit of a booze bomb. Let's talk about the flavor though. I've talked about up front, there's a lot of that bourbon characteristic. There's a boozy kind of bite on the back end, but there's a lot going on in between. There is a lot of that bourbony kind of molasses flavor, that sweet molasses, but there is also a lot of chocolate. On the nose, I said there's a lot of chocolate. It's really got that fudgy kind of decadent, rich chocolate aroma. It also has a really deep, rich chocolate flavor as well. I'm not picking up so much on vanilla, and maybe the vanilla is kind of being mixed in with that bourbon, with that molasses of the bourbon. But what I am getting when I'm missing out on the vanilla is a lot of chocolate. Like I said, you get that bourbon, that molasses, that bourbon just kind of charry, roasty characteristic, barrel characteristic on the up front. On the finish, you're getting that booziness, that kind of burning, boozy kind of finish. But again, in the middle is all just filled with this deep, rich, super fudgy, like just really rich chocolate flavor. I have to say, if you are somebody that likes your bourbon barrel-aged stouts to have that kind of bourbon note, but you don't like the booziness, stay away from this one. Because like I said, there is such a really big boozy characteristic, especially on the first taste when I was talking about the mouthfeel. It was really hard for me not to focus in on that booziness because, you know, after you take a few sips, after you take a few drinks, your taste buds, your tongue, your kind of just overall sense of taste become, you know, used to that flavor or used to it after a few drinks, but that first one's just a real shock. So now it's not as boozy as that first impression, but it still definitely has that booziness. And that's when you can tell something is like really hanging on. When you tasted it that first taste, and on the, you know, subsequent taste, it still sticks around, still very boozy. Like I said, I think that I like the 11th anniversary a little bit better, even though it was higher ABV. If you're not a boozy kind of stout person, I would say to stay away from this one. But if you like that booziness, if you're going into a BBA stout because of that booziness, then definitely hang on for this one. If you are just an odd side kind of completionist and you want to try all the different stuff, this won't disappoint you. You will still be very satisfied in this one. It does have a great flavor, has that big, rich, chocolatey flavor to it. I think just people that aren't into that kind of boozy stout, BBA stout kind of deal, I would just say stay away. But everybody else that's a stout fan or high gravity, high octane stout fan, this is a no-brainer. I think it would definitely just fit right in any kind of situation that you would drink those kind of beers. All right, friends, that's been another year in the record books for Odd Side Ales. Have you had this one before? Do you prefer it to maybe the 11th, or do you like the 11th anniversary better? How about Deleterious? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might just subscribe and click that bell. I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. If you are subscribed, thank you very much. If you are subscribed and you want to share this video, I would greatly appreciate it. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Cheers.